back to the Chill Spot Podcast.
Welcome. Hope you're comfortable. Hope you're safe. Hope you're happy.
Sam, you ever do something when you were a kid, like a little kid? Do you ever do something that you really considered to be innocuous, and you confirmed with like other people that it's innocuous, but you got in trouble for it anyway? You know what I'm saying?
Remind me what innocuous means again. Like it doesn't matter. Like
yeah,
like
at least, you know
small, insignificant.
I'm gonna Google to make sure.
I remember you use it correctly because I remember you used it in a sentence one time, and I looked it up to make sure.
Not harmful or offensive is innocuous.
Okay, not harmful or offensive, but you got in trouble for it anyways.
So one time in high school, in elementary school, I think I was in the 6th or 7th grade. I said the word, I think like damn. I was like damn. And like the librarian like really reamed me out for it.
Right.
And I was like, damn is like so small on the scale of bad words.
If I'm trying not to swear, I still say damn.
Yeah. Like,
it's in the Bible.
What else to say darn?
It's one of those words like damn and hell and ass. They're in the Bible.
And ass.
How bad can it be?
Yeah, really.
You know, realistically speaking.
They're not curse words.
Yeah. And you know, especially as I find that as I try to restructure my vocabulary to erase problematic words like the R's, like slurs and stuff like that I've used in the past that we know better to use now, I find myself leaning on swear words a lot more.
Yeah, because you know, yeah.
Like I remember reading once, and this hasn't reached heavy discourse yet, so like I don't know, but I remember somebody from the disabled community saying that words like idiot and moron were words used to describe like insane asylum patients.
Oh, really?
So like they're not okay words to use because
really,
they're
moron?
Yeah, right? But I read it once and I haven't seen it co-signed. So
okay,
like
so I don't know about that. Then.
I still, because I read it, you know, I want to acknowledge it. I don't want to ignore it because sometimes these things you read them once and then they turn out to be true even after you've ignored it. So you don't want to be like off.
But moron is like my favorite word.
I know, and like it's supposed to be one of the safe words.
Yeah.
But I find myself then turning to swear words, you know? If I want to describe a person who I think is unintelligent, I'll call them like a dumbass or a jackass, you know? Like they're technically swear words, but they're not rooted in anything oppressive. They're not rooted in like, you know, the mistreatment of mentally ill people in history. It's a swear word, but it's unproblematic. It was never used to oppress people.
That's understandable.
It's just looked down upon. And you know what? That's not good enough for me to not use it. So I find myself saying things like dumbass and jackass, but they're really not the worst. I wouldn't if a child started saying jackass because I said jackass, I wouldn't feel bad about that.
No.
You know, like if I taught a child the word fuck, I would feel bad.
Right.
Inadvertently, I would feel bad. But jackass, dumbass, like we laugh at Red on that 70s show all the time because he called people a dumbass. He called everybody a dumbass. Yeah. You know, it's he's
like the best character on that show.
There are the really bad swear words like fuck and shit. I don't think shit is that bad, but it's definitely
it's a curse word.
Yeah, but ass, damn, hell. We're not making the 1 minute.
No, yeah. We're
1 minute no
we're 3 minutes
swears.
in. We're fine. We're 3 minutes in. It's not a big deal.
But yeah.
Well, see, I'll be honest with you though. So like, I get the idea of educating yourself when it comes to usage of certain words. And I definitely think that there are words that people use that are then, you know, the context around the words have changed.
Yeah.
Like I myself try not to use the word crazy as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because crazy is a loaded word.
Yeah.
It's been used to describe like women who speak up or even like mentally ill folks.
I have had it expressed to me before by a human being that they specifically have a bad history with the term crazy and don't appreciate. Yeah. Even if you say like, oh, like someone was having this crazy party the other day, like they don't like hearing the word crazy because they have their own personal experience with it,
and that's okay. Like and I'm conscious of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, and not to sound like a fucking centrist, but that's a thin line to walk when you start demonizing every word. Yeah. Because it gets to the point where it's like, okay, so like. I don't want to be like, oh, you can't say anything. Yeah. But like, there's a worry that like, okay, well then what are we allowed to say? Yeah. Because by some people's logic, at some point the context around a word will become one where you can't say it. Yeah. And then before you know it, we're not gonna have any fucking words left.
And you also have to understand that to a certain extent, some words. Francesca Ramsey has a really good video about this actually.
Wife of Gordon Ramsay.
No. She's an activist and an author, and she hosts the web series for MTV Decoded.
She makes ravioli for her kids out of cans. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, like, and he gets really fucking mad at her. And
please continue with your story.
You can cook.
Sorry for derailing.
Do you see why sometimes I can't co-sign your jokes? Because, like, I'm trying to do what you told me to do,
and
but
I
it's like, this is a really respected person, and it's like
that's what makes it funny.
Kind of disrespectful to insinuate that she is merely the wife of Gordon Ramsay, who like cooks Chef Boyardee for her children, despite being married to a Michelin star chef. She's a very accomplished. She's a New York Times best-selling author.
That's what makes it funnier.
I know, and it's really not the worst thing in the world.
Please continue. You're talking about
she would
Francesca
probably laugh
Ramsey.
at it. So Francesca Ramsey has a really good video where she talks about the history of the term "long time no see" and how apparently the history. I'm going to butcher this, but apparently the history of the term "long time no see." Was rooted in some sort of like yellow face actor who like was making fun of the way that Asian people talk when English isn't their first language and how they drop words sometimes. So it was like an Asian person who doesn't know English very well is trying to say, hey, it's been a really long time since the last time I saw you, but they don't know how to speak English, so they say, long time no see. And excuse me, it was bad. But she was like, but we don't associate it. Like it's been so long since that interpretation of it, and we don't associate long time no see with not knowing how to speak English properly anymore. We don't even associate it with Asian people at all anymore.
Long time no see is just a phrase.
Yeah. And the term moron and idiot, we don't associate it with someone who is mentally ill. We associate it with someone who is merely unintelligent.
Or someone who behaving like a dumbass.
With someone who could, if they really applied themselves, or not even if they really applied themselves, who really should know better. Like if I call someone who doesn't wear a mask because they think that COVID is a hoax an idiot, it's like I'm calling you an idiot because you can wear a mask. You have the ability to wear a mask, and you defiantly and really childishly refuse to wear one because of your own political beliefs, which are in flux anyways.
Right.
So like you're an idiot, like you should know better, and yet you don't do better. You're an idiot. That's what I associate. I don't associate being an idiot with being mentally ill at all, and people don't really do that anymore. 1920s
term, yeah.
So that's like my one criticism of like
medical idiot.
That's my criticism of PC culture. is like, okay, I understand the history of it, and I understand if you're a part of this community, you have a right to say, this affects you, and I will be conscious of that. But let's maybe consider the fact that I'm maybe not referencing the disabled community or the mentally ill community when I call someone an idiot. That's not what I'm thinking of. You don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of someone who, for all intents and purposes, should know better.
Right.
It's been years since mental institutions worked the way that they do now, which, still a lot of abuse. I acknowledge that. It's not like we have it perfect now. It's not like we solved it. But I'm not talking about old-timey nurses like locking people up in dirty rooms and you just kind of throw them in there until they die, and you just kind of like separate them from society and everything's awful.
Sure.
Like I'm not thinking about that when I call someone a moron or an idiot. I'm thinking of someone who really should honestly know better.
Yeah.
And like maybe we need to consider that. I'm not thinking of Asian people when I say, "Oh, long time no see." Like I'm not.
Well, what that is, Sam? That's people shunting context onto you.
Yeah.
Right? That's people who, quite frankly, who are brainwashed by Twitter or Tumblr or Reddit to think that if you hear something that has a questionable history or context, especially in terms of like using a word or using a phrase, that person must then either not understand the history or context or don't care about it.
Yeah.
When in reality, words like moron and idiot and phrases like long time no see like aren't as loaded as like the N-word. Or slurs. Yeah. Where it's like
through time they've managed to become separated from their original inception.
When you hear someone who's not black use the N-word, you know that they're not using it to be like fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not like how do I say this? Like a white person who uses the N-word in any context, in my opinion, shows a total lack of respect for people of color and especially black people.
Yeah.
Because if you have any even an iota of respect for people of color and their struggles, you won't use words like that.
It hasn't been that long. It's been a really long time since the term long time no see has been associated with Asian people. It's since managed to become separated from them somehow. I don't remember how exactly. You should watch Francesca Ramsey's video about it because she explains it a lot more better with a lot more research and understanding than I have right now just bringing it up.
Sure.
But it has managed to become separated from Asian people, like we don't associate it with that. When I was a kid and I was picking up the term long time no see from my parents, it wasn't like, oh, where's that come from? Well, we use it to make fun of Asian people. That wasn't,
exactly. Yeah,
that wasn't what that was. It's just an expression that you use when you haven't seen someone in a long time. It's exactly what it sounds like.
It's not even that grammatically incorrect if you think about it.
The N-word, it like was and is still associated with the oppression and like killing of black people.
Yeah, really.
Like to this day, it is the last thing that some black people have heard as they've been murdered. So like, it's a little different, It's not, we don't associate long time no see with Asian people anymore.
No,
so like,
I didn't know it was associated with Asian people until right this now.
Exactly. I had to learn it, like up until I saw that video, I didn't know that either. No one that I knew did.
And you can't turn around. Now you as a person can't turn around now and shit on other people for using that term because that doesn't make any sense.
No.
That'd be like us walking by a park and hearing kids go like, okay, who wants to go next? And someone goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And you walk up and you're like, do you know the history of that?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
You're a racist little boy.
Exactly.
Like.
I just slap him across the face.
Like, Sam, what are you fucking doing?
Hello.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they're not even using the like old version of it. They're like, catch a tiger by the toe, whatever. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like context.
Context is so key in these conversations.
It really, really is. But yeah, I don't want to go off about this shit anymore. We all know what the fuck we're talking about when I say what I say.
We know the score.
Yeah,
we know the score. We all love the score app on our phones when we watch basketball.
We all know and love the score by the Fugees. It's a classic.
That is a great.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the album or the song?
The album.
The whole album. But there's a song called The Score on the album, isn't there?
I don't know if there's a title track on it.
Okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember the.
I'm not gonna look it up, but like
I don't remember the track list.
If that's I couldn't remember which was which for a second, but yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah, it's an excellent album.
I remember a buddy of mine who told me to listen to that album, and I did, and I was like, one of my favorite songs was I think it's called Many Mics or How Many Mics.
Yeah.
How many mics do we burn on the daily?
Yeah.
Many. That's one of the. I think that is the first.
I actually don't know that album that well.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those classic albums that I should know a lot better, and I don't.
But anyway, so
I will one day.
I really like that song, and I said to him like, hey, like I listened to the album, and I really like that. I really like this one. This is my favorite song, and he was like, that's the first song on the album.
So.
Yeah, but he kind of like gave me shit about it. And that was my response. I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, are you insinuating that I listened to the first song? And I was like, that's enough.
Well, How Many Mics is the second song on the album.
Well, there you go.
So, you can just lay
Exactly. Lay off, douche.
It's also like, why? I think it's so gatekeeping and stupid that the position of your favorite song on an album determines how, like, I understand it insinuates that you only listened 2 songs into the album. You were like, yeah, I listened to the score, and you're just like fudging it the rest of the way. But you're not. Like, I could have listened to one of my favorite top to bottom albums that I just listened to recently is Mama's Gun by Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
And like the song Didn't You Know has like it's come to mean something so deep and personal to me. And it's the second track on the album, and I've listened to that album top to bottom like 5 times this year, which is a lot to listen to one album top to bottom in a year, by the way. But it's just a song that means a lot to me. I also really love Orange Moon, which is very deep into the album. It's like the 4th last song or something like that.
A deep cut. Cool.
It's in the album, fine, whatever. But like, Didn't You Know just like speaks to me. It's the second track. It's the second track. Leave me alone.
Also, what's up with this precedent of like the first songs in an album are always like considered like the weaker songs, whereas the deeper cuts are considered better? That doesn't make any sense to me. Wouldn't you want the earlier songs to be the best ones?
Yeah, because you want to draw people in.
Well, yeah.
Like, you have to understand, you have to understand, royal you have to understand
I get it.
that track lists are curated, you know? It's like when you build a playlist and you, like, design it a certain way, albums are curated in the exact same way.
Of course, yeah.
Like, you want your, like, typically, this doesn't happen with every single album. Sometimes the lead single is, like, the last song on the album, and that happens. But you know, if you're trying to draw people into your album, say it's like your first or second album and you really want to make an impression, you put the best songs first because you want to draw people in. So that by the time, you know, maybe interest is waning by the 7th album, but you're like, man, this album started off so strong. I really want to just power through. I want to finish it. That's what good structuring, curating of an album is.
Yeah.
You know, so
album structure's an art, man.
It's fine. Yeah. And there are producers and sound engineers and artists who work on their albums that are really, really good at it.
For sure.
It's a talent, 100%. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of the times bops are really early on in the album because they're trying to draw you in on purpose.
They want you to listen to the first 3 songs and be like, this is an album worth listening to.
Yeah. Backseat Freestyle is like the 3rd song on Good Kid, Mad City.
Something like that,
It was one of the most popular songs from that album.
Speaking of Kendrick Lamar, I listened to Pimp a Butterfly from top to bottom last time I drove to your place.
Okay.
What a great fucking album,
one of those
man.
Trips.
Oh, God.
Where you're just like, yeah,
album.
We're doing this.
Yeah, man, because what happened is that Black of the Berry came on.
Yeah.
And I listened to it. And that's not the first song on the I don't think it is. No, Wesley's Theory is the first song on that album.
Yeah.
And I listened to Black of the Berry and I was like, I could listen to this entire album right now.
Yeah.
And then there was like a beat and I was like, I'm going to listen to this entire album right now. Still so good, man.
Okay, let's talk top to bottom albums. I love this conversation because, well, first of all, I feel like people don't really listen to albums all the way through these days.
Not anymore.
And I almost feel like current artists, some of them don't really make albums with the intention of having them being listened to. Like, they make a body of work because that's what you do, but they don't curate them to be like an experience all the way through.
When Drake drops a 35-song album, he's not like, I hope you listen to all of it.
Yeah.
No, he's like, pick your favorites.
Yeah, exactly. Like, listen to it, see what you like. You don't have to listen to it all the way through. But when I was growing up, like, I still bought albums. People look at me because I'm in my 20s still, and they think, you don't listen to albums. It's like, no, like, I remember going to HMV and just like that was my store in the mall. That was where I would drop the most money. Yeah. That was where, like, if I had any sort of extra scratch after I split half of my paycheck into my savings, I would go, and that's where I would drop all my money. It wasn't clothes, it wasn't makeup, it wasn't like games or anything like that.
Sure.
CDs and DVDs. That was my jam.
That was your big shit.
I was such a sucker. Sometimes I would go to HMV and I would try and spend the amount of money that you needed to spend to get the employee to be like, so you spent like $32 today, so now you can pick from any of these like DVDs that we have on the counter for like $5. You know,
grab a few,
you know that racket that they had at HMV to try and get you to spend more money. They'd be like, so you can get like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for like $5. I
used to do that shit all the time. That's how you get a bunch of really cool, weird movies.
Yeah, totally. That's how I came to own Silver Linings Playbook. I was like, fuck it. So now I have Silver Linings Playbook on DVD, and I don't watch it.
That movie sucks.
But
albums.
I love listening to albums, and I used to spend hours listening to albums, and I would like open up the liner notes and I would like look through the credits. I would read the lyrics. I would check the credits. I'd be like, ooh, like, wow, like John Legend is like on College Dropout. Like I didn't know that. I didn't hear that. That's crazy.
Producer, right? Is it producer credit?
I don't remember. Well, I may have made that up, actually. I don't remember where he sits on College Dropout, but yeah, so you should really read the liner notes of College Dropout. There's like
a lot of famous people in there.
You think like, oh yeah, Jay-Z came along and helped make Kanye West famous. A lot of people backed Kanye West, and like,
and you know what?
As soon as one person co-signed him, a lot of stars like came through and were on that album.
Now that we're on the topic, I think that's a top to bottom album, College 100%. Dropout, for sure.
And it's an impressive top to bottom album because it's like 21 tracks long.
Well, it's like 6 skits. There's like 6 skits.
But the skits are incredible. Sometimes the skits really aren't that great on albums. Skits and interludes, sometimes they're not. They don't do it for me. But the skits on College Dropout and Late Registration, for that matter.
Late Registration. I mean, I'll say this to my dying day. I know that I know that Kanye West is contentious.
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm not trying to ignore that context.
Yeah.
But the College Dropout is one of the greatest albums ever made.
Yeah.
And then Late Registration is one of the greatest follow-ups ever made.
Sophomore albums.
That no one fucking talks about.
I know.
No one talks about Late Registration. And it's so good.
But Late Registration, when it came out, was an excellent sophomore album. Bless you.
Excuse me. Holy fuck.
It was one of those, I mean, like it was a successful sophomore album, you know, like College Dropout did so well, and you know, typical, you know, crowds, they're like, is he gonna follow it up, or is he gonna crash under the pressure? And Late Registration just like only elevated him a little bit more, and then Graduation just like blew things out of proportion.
I love Graduation, but I wouldn't consider it top to bottom.
Well, the thing that people got to remember about Graduation is that where Kanye was in his career, he had opened for U2 at the O2 Arena and saw the like magnitude of a U2 show and was like, I want this. I want to make an entire album of songs that are going to do well in the best stadiums. I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. In the best stadiums.
Yeah, he wanted like bombastic songs.
I'm not doing the fucking. I'm not taking, you know, Stronger to the Sound Academy in Toronto. No. I want a song that is going to be absolutely bombastic in like the ACC at Yankee Stadium at Barclays, I guess is the big one in one of them in New York.
Whatever.
Or you know, I want to sell out that fucking Bird's Nest arena in Beijing that they built for the Olympics. You know, like I want songs of that magnitude. Whereas Late Registration was about like proving himself. You know, College Dropout was about proving that he could be a good rapper, because he was just seen as a producer at the time, so he really had to break out of that shell, and then he had to make late Registration excellent because he had to keep that momentum going to prove that he could keep doing it, that he wasn't just going to fall into producing back into producing for the rest of his career. But then Graduation was like, okay, people believe in me now. I just want to fucking sell out stadiums all over the world. I want to be worldwide. I want to be global. I want to be, you know, on the upper echelon and prove that I really deserve to be up there with the greats.
I agree. You know, we could talk about...
It isn't just about being a fantastic rapper. It's about being like, I want to prove that I deserve to hang out with Jay-Z as much as I do.
Yeah. And we could talk about Kanye's discography all day. We could really do a whole podcast on that.
Talking about top to bottom albums.
You know, but in terms of other artists who aren't Kanye West that I think are top to bottom albums, I'd honestly say anything like Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly are both top to bottom. One of my favorite top to bottom albums ever is Scumfuck Flower Boy.
Yeah, Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator.
Yeah.
I think it's just Flower Boy.
I mean, that's the original title was Scumfuck Flower Boy.
I know, but he doesn't even. Tyler the Creator recently ranked his favorite songs, just his personal favorite songs, not necessarily the best songs, but the ones that he likes the best.
Sure.
And he just called Flower Boy Flower Boy.
Well, for also for marketing purposes, right? They can't call it Scumfuck Flower Boy.
Yeah.
But another, like, I really like to give Fleetwood Mac their credit.
Yeah.
But,
no, we joke about it all the time.
Rumors is a top to bottom album.
Oh, it's a fantastic top to bottom album.
No, this is actually the reason why I get so upset about it, because obviously it is. No one should be surprised.
Yeah.
Like, I know you may be 14 and listening to music for the first time ever.
There was that weird couple of weeks on Reddit where, like, every couple of days someone would be like, yo, like, I know that it's just sort of understood. But
no one is talking about...
I just want to say out loud that Rumors is one of the best albums of all time. And we're like, no, we know. We're not talking about it because it's common knowledge. You know what it is? Rumors is the Chanel of albums from
like
RuPaul's Drag Race,
okay.
where it's like, I feel like nobody is telling this album that is pretty. And it's like, you're one of the best albums of all time. You're pretty because you're one of the best albums of all time. Right. We don't have to say it.
Yeah.
We don't have to say it. It's just known.
You should know.
You should know that Rumors is one of the best albums of all time.
Totally.
Like, ever recorded. Just leave it at that.
Control by SZA. That's another top to bottom album.
Yes. That's another album where it sucks you in.
For sure.
You think you're just going to listen to Drew Barrymore, or you think you're just going to listen to The Weeknd or Doves in the Wind, and you're like, nah, I'm listening to this whole album. So you put on Supermodel and you're like, yep, I'm in.
What are some top to bottom albums for you that you think that, like, maybe wouldn't be for others?
Nobody ever talks about 19, Adele's first debut album, and I need people to acknowledge more that 19 is one of the most gorgeous top to bottom albums in her.
Yeah, for sure.
In my opinion, it's my favorite Adele album. I've listened to all of her other albums, and they're great. 21 is a fantastic top to bottom album, but I think that 19 is better, personally.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's bold.
Yeah, one of her bests. I remember at the time that she was touring 21 and she was doing press for 21. She went to MTV because her albums up until that point have been about like relationships that have ended.
Yeah.
So they're all centered around one guy. And the interviewer asked her, okay, so which boyfriend was worse, 19 boyfriend or 21 boyfriend? And Adele was like 19 boyfriend, because 19 boyfriend was straight up disrespectful and like was rude to like my mom.
Wow.
You know, like he was just a terrible person and I put up with a lot. And I just think that this is awful, but I feel like the fact that the 19 boyfriend was such a bastard, it just made the music so much better.
Okay, cool.
You know, because it's like knowing that he was such an asshole, but like getting the song Melt My Heart to Stone out of it is just wow. Like I don't have the words to express how someone can be such a bastard to you and everyone around you, and you write the song Crazy for You, which the lyrics are like, they're like, you know, I swear just when I swear that I am over you, all you have to do is turn your head and look at me and I'm gone. I'm completely lost.
Very
and
emotional.
I'm so into you. And it's wild, the effect that you have on me.
I've never listened to either of her albums, actually.
She has 3 albums out now. 19, 21, and 25, I think, is the one that has, like, Hello on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, and, like, 25 is good. I've listened to 25 all the way through once because that was one of those albums where it's, like, Adele makes her albums so spread out that radio just kind of, like, has nothing to play but old Adele songs.
Right.
Like I think it's been like 4 or 5 years since 25 came out.
Something
and we're
like
still
that.
fucking hearing, what's that one song? Not Hello, but another one of her songs from that album. And it's still in heavy rotation because it's Adele and it's so good.
Well, yeah, because people love Adele.
So sick of it. You know, I'm so sick of Someone Like You, and that breaks my heart because the first time I heard Someone Like You, when I bought that album, I have a physical copy of 21, and when I bought that album, Someone Like You was like, it's a deep cut at the time, and I thought it was so beautiful, and then Adele was gone for so long that they were like, okay, what else is on this album? The record company was like, release almost every single song on that album is a single now. And they were like, release it. And Someone Like You really took off. And now you hear it all the fucking time. And I just can't fucking stand it anymore.
See, I don't listen to the radio enough to get sick of songs anymore.
Work. I would have jobs. And then jobs would play the radio.
Well, yeah.
And then you hear Someone Like You like
40 times a day.
40 times in an 8-hour shift.
That's understandable.
And it's just the worst.
No, Adele is great. Adele is really great. I think, well, for me, like, see, it's funny. Whenever people talk about their music tastes, I find immediately that I really do only listen to rap. And I want to listen to more singers. I just don't know. I don't know where to really find music.
Yeah.
Besides, like, Spotify's like, oh, listen to this. You might like it. And, like, sometimes that really works. Like, Spotify, I gotta admit, like, for an app that really boils my blood with how it works on my phone.
Yes.
It really has a great algorithm and really pays attention to the music you listen to.
What you listen to, yeah.
And it finds you music like the music you like.
It's great for recommending you. The more you use the playlists, like the Daily Mix and the Discover Weeklies, and then I'm the kind of person who, like, once I find a song I like, I listen to it 40 times a day.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, wow, she listened to Girls Need Love by Summer Walker like 7 times on this day. So we're going to give her more Summer Walker. And then every time Ari Lennox comes out with a new song, we're going to put that in her path. And I feel like it's smart enough to put it at like the top of the playlist too. And then the playlist just goes down in how interested in the songs you are, which is just so genius.
Well, what I really want to do...
But you have to use it.
I wanted to say that my last like 2 more top to bottom albums that I really enjoy are Blank Face LP by Schoolboy Q.
Okay.
And then Big Fish Theory by Vince Staples.
Oh man, I listened to that album top to bottom for like an entire summer, like almost every day.
The time will melt away.
Yeah.
It's that good. I love Big Fish Theory.
It's not long, which is also why time just sort of melts away, because it's genuinely not a long
Well, it's
album.
only like 7 or 8 songs, I think.
I think it's just over 10 songs. Yeah. I think it's like 11 songs.
Well, I guess I think it has to be 10 or else it's technically an EP, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, but we were talking about Spotify. Something I really want to do, a couple of podcasts I listened to talked about this idea, and I think it's genuinely a good one, is making monthly playlists. So like listening to new music every month and then putting that music into like September 2020.
Like your September, kind of like the yearly playlist, but like monthly.
Yeah, but have a big old monthly playlist. And then like, what I think is interesting about that notion is, 2021 in June, I can go back to September of 2020, listen to the music that I was listening to and be like, remember how I felt.
Yeah.
And remember what life was like in September.
I like that idea.
It's a good idea, right?
And I really like that idea.
My only problem is that like I don't listen to enough new music. Like I imagine that like there would be songs, there must be at least one song that would be on every month, because that's the way I listen to music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I really do want to listen to more music.
Yeah.
Because in university, when I was a fucking stoner, I would sit around and listen to music all day.
Yeah.
Like I would just like skip school and get high and listen to music. Because like that's what you do when you're a fucking loser.
Totally.
And I would be lying if I didn't think that really introduced me to so much more good music.
Yeah.
And I don't have the time to sit and listen to music for 45 minutes anymore. I also like, of the things that are available for me to do, like it's not high on my list of priorities.
Okay.
I also don't want to listen to an album while doing something else, because I think that's remiss. Like you're going to miss out on stuff.
Yeah, I'm not one of these people who can split my brain or just like like people say, "Oh, I just like throw this on and like mindlessly listen to it while I do tasks."
Yeah.
I can't really do that.
No, definitely not.
I'm either going to pay full attention to one thing or the other thing. And usually it's the music that loses out. So like if I'm like sweeping the floor and listening to a podcast, say I'm listening to like a storytelling podcast, I'm going to get lost in like the movement of like sweeping the floor and like making sure I get everything, like get all the dirt. Than I am to like paying attention to the story. So by the time I tune back in and split my brain and have to pay attention to the podcast, they're like, yeah, so then Jerry fell down the stairs and Milky Boy, and I'm like, where does Milky Boy come into this?
Jerry?
Yeah. The characters I knew were like Jerry, Larry, and Harry, and then there's a Milky Boy now? I didn't pay attention to Milky Boy, and then I have to rewind.
Yeah.
And then I get lost in the task again, and I'm like, okay, I still don't know who Milky Boy is, and then like rewind, and the cycle just continues forever.
Because humans can't multitask. That's a thing.
Which is why I do like just sitting and listening to music.
If I could do it more, I would.
Yeah. Sometimes that's just what I do to relax. Like, it doesn't happen very often, because sometimes my attention span often just doesn't allow for me to like sit. But if I'm tired enough, like say it's been a long day, I'll just be like, I just need to have a lie down, and I'll put on music or a podcast and just lie down and sit still and just like listen.
Right.
And that's when it's a hard vein to get into, but that's when I really get attached to certain things. Like certain episodes of podcasts will really affect me, or a song's lyrics will just really hit me in my heart, and it becomes something that really matters to me, like a piece of art that really matters to me. And it's beautiful when it happens, because it's just so rare, and it's really great. That's when I get a new top to bottom album that I love, because it's like, okay, like the stars aligned and my attention span was able to focus on one thing for like 45 minutes so that I could allow myself to completely get washed over by this podcast or album or whatever, movie, whatever.
I find that sometimes when approaching new media, that can be a little defeating as well, because like every time you start a new album or TV series or book, whatever it might be, you're hoping that it's going to be the new thing that you do for a while.
Yes.
You're hoping that it's going to be this thing that I can pay attention to and like immerse myself in and really love,
Yeah.
Oftentimes it isn't.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I start an album that's like highly anticipated. I have no examples, of course, but like, I don't know, you listen to the first track, you're like, all right, that's first track, but first tracks are always kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Second track, okay, that wasn't great either.
Yeah.
And then third track, I didn't like that one, so I'm probably not going to listen to the rest of this album.
Yeah.
Or if I do, I'm probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not off to a great start.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And starting, in my opinion, and we talked about this earlier, is like the most important thing when it comes to media.
Yeah.
Like, your first 5 minutes of whatever you do should be one of the most interesting parts of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. You've got to really reach out and grab me. Like, you have to sink your claws into me in that, like, first song or the first, like, minute or two of a podcast to, like, yank me in.
I shouldn't be bored in the first 10 minutes of whatever.
Yeah.
You know, album, book, TV show, movie, whatever, right? Like, if people are bored in the first 10 minutes, you've lost. Like, you may as well leave, wash it over.
And it's killer because as a creator, I'm like, really? That's all the time I have? Really?
Yep.
That's not enough time. But then I'm also a consumer, so I get it. You know, like, I've been in that situation where I'm like, it's been like 5 minutes. It's not looking good for this. It's not looking good for this show. It's not looking good for this podcast. It's not looking good for this whatever. I'm just not. I don't really get it. I need you to grab me faster. And then I'd like want to kick myself because it's like, no, give this thing the time that you wish everybody would give your things too, your shows, your podcast, your videos, whatever. But I'm just like,
well, that's the thing though.
It didn't get my attention. It didn't make the slappy, happy.
But here's the thing though, Sam.
I'm a big baby.
So the thing is that, like, I'm not talking about like pacing or whatever, right? Like, you can have something that's slow in the beginning. 'Cause I don't expect like things to come out the gate like fire burning, like, you know, start me over, right?
Yeah. Somebody call 911.
Exactly, Mr. Kingston. But it should be interesting.
Yeah.
You need to set up the rest of your thing.
Yeah.
Your fucking middle plot point shouldn't make the beginning make sense.
I've watched things that start with an explosion, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cute. Yeah.
Is this really how we're going to fucking start it? Okay. Oh, it's going in the exact direction I think it's going to go, or I'm just over it? Okay, goodbye. You know, it doesn't have to be like bombastic right out the gate. It just has to be interesting. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other top to bottom albums. I mean, obviously, every single Fall Out Boy album up until I'm gonna say American Beauty, American Psycho, because I've fallen off. Like, I didn't super love Mania.
That's the most recent one.
Yeah, and I haven't listened to Lake Effect Kid all the way through. I started a little bit, and then I just didn't get into it.
Is that their new album that came out recently?
It's like an EP that they dropped sort of randomly, and I don't know. It kind of flew under my radar. I was like, oh, this is a thing. And I like added it to my Spotify library and like I listened to it once and I was like, okay, well, it's Fall Out Boy. So I'll just like pick this up again later. I'll probably like it. And now I scroll past it and I'm like, I'm not trying to finish that anytime soon. Like, it just didn't grab me the way that Fall Out Boy albums used to, which is fine. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. Like, I think I've just kind of like, it took a while, but I think I've finally outgrown Fall Out Boy. Like, the direction that they're going in artistically is not one that fits with me anymore and where I'm at.
That happens.
And that's fine.
It happens
because what makes me live is seeing that Fall Out Boy is still so popular. And there's still...
And they really are.
There's still generations of like kids, like younger kids and there are even artists who come up now. Like, I think Post Malone said that he's been influenced by Fall Out Boy, and I don't super love Post Malone, but like, he's popular. He's Grammy nominated.
Post Malone's
so who the fuck am I?
No problem with Post Malone.
I think Machine Gun Kelly has been influenced by Fall Out Boy before. He certainly sounds like Fall Out Boy sometimes. I can hear it in some stuff that comes across my feed sometimes.
So tattooed white boys are heavily influenced by Fall Out Boy.
I don't know, man. You know, in like 5 Seconds of Summer, like 5 Seconds of Summer is basically baby Fall Out Boy. Like
5 seconds. Who was that?
They're like punk One Direction.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Did they have a big hit?
Yeah. They had that song Young Blood. Young Blood. No, you wouldn't have heard it. It wouldn't have come across your tagline. But they're very popular.
I believe you, yeah.
My coworker, one of my old coworkers from grocery store, really loves 5 Seconds of Summer. And like, their influence they've been around long enough that they influence newer artists, and like kids still love them. And I love that kids discover Fall Out Boy, and they discover Fall Out Boy in like the Mania era. And like, that's their album that they love. I'm like, yeah, no, love that. Because when I got into Fall Out Boy, it was from Under the Cork Tree era. And all of the people from like the Chicago punk scene that like raised them up were like, oh, you sold out, you're not like this, that, and the other thing. Meanwhile, they're like changing my fucking life over here.
Right.
You know, like Folie à Deux is like one of the reasons why I like changed courses in my life completely and just like turned my life around for the better.
Really?
And some people completely had given up on Fall Out Boy by that point and were like, nah, fuck this band. I hate them. They don't sound like they used to. So yeah, to me, Fall Out Boy doesn't sound like they used to when I loved them, but they're still doing for kids what they did for me when I was a kid. And I love that. I love that my band is like still doing that.
Yeah.
But still changing and like doing new things with their art.
That's the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I don't want to be the fucking old person in the who was like, because, you know, I would see stuff like that. I one of the ways that I spent my time on the internet before social media was I would go to followboy.com and I would like read the fan boards, like the forum boards, and I would like read the Q&As that Pete Wentz would do on the internet all the time. And, you know, I would see people who were like, I saw you guys back in whatever Chicago punk venue. You're not the same. You sold out. You changed your tune. You're blah, blah, blah. You're not as good as you used to be. And I felt bad because it's like, well, shit, I like them. I didn't have the vocabulary to say it at the time, but it's like, well, shit, I love this band. I love From Under the Cork Tree. I love Infinity on High.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when people were really like, boo, you sold out. But this music was meaning something to me.
Well, yeah.
So
you can't help what you're influenced by.
Yeah, and it made me feel bad, you know? It's like, well, to me, this is legit. To me, this is real. To me, this is like, you know, like speaking to me. Don't tell me that the music that is speaking to me so strongly is like sellout music, you know? Like, it's not sellout music because it's affecting me in a good way.
Music communities are probably the most toxic media communities you could find, right?
So I just remember that feeling, and I don't want to, just because I didn't like Mania means that like Fall Out Boy sucks now. It just means that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to not like it.
Exactly.
No. I'm allowed to not like it, but I also don't have to like shit on how it's affecting everybody else. The Mania tour was really well attended.
I'm just not like, and again,
the last Fall Out Boy concert I went to, there were younger kids there who were like into Fall Out Boy still.
Because it's probably more of their demographic. Like that makes sense.
You know? It's cool. It's
I don't think you should poo-poo
like
people for liking things the way they do.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm probably sounding a little hypocritical, as I tend to give people shit because I like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, like I don't know, if you eat ice cream with a fork, like who cares?
Yeah.
You're still eating it. Are you liking it?
Yeah.
Good. Like,
you know,
that's sort of my whole
mentality.
mentality.
Doesn't matter that I don't use forks anymore.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter that I exclusively eat with my hands now.
Exactly. No,
you're enjoying forks.
I bob for it, like bobbing for apples. Like I just like.
I literally lick my plate clean.
Yes.
And do nothing else.
I don't even have to put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah. Oh, man. You don't want to see me eat chicken wings. It's disgusting.
Eat the bone whole. Like,
yeah. I've actually evolved to bite straight through bone now.
You know what I really want to learn how to do?
What's that?
I want to learn how food people, like food hosts and stuff, can eat chicken wings by just like putting it in their mouth and like pulling it out and like the bone is clean.
Like, what's the maneuver?
How are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, or like you ever notice
like when they get flats, like drums I can understand. Drums are easily maneuverable, but like flats?
Yeah. Like,
how do you not get your whole mouth in there?
Well, what I don't. Okay, so also something that I noticed is that like you'll notice that like food hosts and stuff, they don't eat chicken wings the way we eat chicken wings. Like how I would eat a chicken wing like a flat by being like bite, flip, bite, open up the bone. Take the meat out.
Yeah.
But like Guy Fieri or like fucking one of these other hosts.
Yeah. You told me that Action Bronson can like clean a flat.
Exactly. He like
he
can like suck it up.
Yeah.
But Guy Fieri will like actually pull the meat out and eat it like that.
Yeah.
Apparently because it's nicer to eat on TV that way.
Yes.
Like it's less gross to watch someone eat a wing that way.
There's a way to eat food when you're eating food on TV.
Man, I want chicken wings now.
There's a different move to it.
Fuck, I really want chicken wings now.
I know. Are we going to have wings up for dinner tonight?
No, actually, my dad's doing that hamburger thing.
Meat and potatoes?
Yeah, doing a class of meat and potatoes.
I can't wait. That's going to be so good.
Yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, what my dad does, he makes these burger patties, homemade, because that's his whole bag.
Yeah.
And then he'll put it in a big cast iron saute pan.
Yeah.
Well, I think he sautés the burgers first.
Yeah.
And then he covers them with gravy and some cooked onions,
slathers them,
and then like puts the whole thing in the oven and just lets it like get nice and like moist and juicy, and then it'll make up some mash and some carrots and other things, and we just eat that, and it's fucking great.
Yeah, it's like a classic meat and potatoes meal.
I like it more than Thanksgiving. But you know, I've actually never really been, I don't like Thanksgiving food that much. No. Like, perfectly honest with you, like it's not my favorite meal.
When we were doing blind BuzzFeed quizzes, and there was that quiz about like your favorite Thanksgiving meal or something like that, and it was listing off like all of the staples of a Thanksgiving meal, I was like, I want it. Green bean casserole with mashed potatoes and turkey and gravy and cranberry sauce, and everything just like gets mucked together, and you just like shove it all into your mouth. Your eyes go black, and before you know it, you've just like, you're finishing off the turkey leg, and like it's got like a little bit of gravy on it, and you lick your fingers and you sit back and you're just like, oh. Fuck yes, dude.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
No, yeah, but it's funny, right? It's just because like as much as I like the things about Thanksgiving dinners, right? I love mashed potatoes. You know, I love like fresh bread and gravy, and like
making a mashed potato volcano and like filling it up with gravy and just letting it pour over, and it gets all over the whole plate.
But I don't really like green beans.
Yeah,
I don't really like cranberry sauce.
You don't really like turkey, even.
I don't even really like turkey, frankly. Like I every time the only thing. I'm gonna crucify for this. Like whenever I eat turkey, it reminds me of like whenever I eat a steak, where like every time I eat it, I'm like, I feel like I should be liking this.
Yeah.
But I just don't get it. Like it's for turkey, like it's dry and like really uniform in its taste. Like there's nothing surprising about it.
You have to do a lot of the flavor of turkey is in how you season the skin. Once you get to the meat, it's really not that flavorful.
Well, that's just it. You know, even in regards to
more
steak,
of a texture thing. Like dark meat turkey is really fucking good.
Yeah, and dark meat turkey,
hot, fresh out of the oven.
See, I in terms of Thanksgiving, my favorite version of Thanksgiving dinners is actually the day after Thanksgiving leftovers, because you can make like open faced sandwiches and shit, and that's my bag, dude. Open faced sandwiches, some pulled ass turkey.
Yeah,
cover that with gravy. You want to get really wild? Put some mashed potatoes on there.
Yeah,
eat that up.
Absolutely, a hot open faced turkey sandwich, so good.
I can have a hot open faced turkey sandwich tonight. Yeah, like, frankly, like I really like that.
I mean, that's basically what we're gonna have. Honestly, if your dad wanted to like ball out and get some Texas toast, and then like put the burger patty on some Texas toast, pour the gravy over top, get the mashed potatoes next to it, and green beans, that is such a classic. Like,
it's a hearty meal.
It seems like such, and it you know, traditionally, at least in my house, like meals like that were popular because that's what you could afford. Like that's just the dinner you made with the money that you had for the food that you could buy. At least that's how like my mom grew up and how her parents grew up. So that's how it kind of came to be with me. And then by the time I came around, it's just what my mom knew how to make. It wasn't necessarily that we couldn't afford anything else. It was just like, this is what you eat, you know?
Yeah.
Meat, potatoes, veg. Meat, potatoes, veg. Meat, potatoes, veg. So now it just tastes like home. It's comfort food. It's just really good. And it's hearty, you know, because like traditionally it also filled you up. You know, potatoes are cheap. You need some kind of veggie so you don't die. And then like, this is the meat that we can afford because we're carnivores. So like ground beef, patty, mush it together, some seasoning. Yeah. There you go.
I know it's like painfully Irish in terms of where it comes from.
Yeah.
But like, truthfully, simplicity like that reminds me of Italian food.
Yeah.
A lot of the best Italian dishes.
It's a different kind of simplicity.
It's just simple.
Yeah.
Simplicity in food can go a long way.
And what is simple to one culture is not so simple to another culture. Because I remember your dad would tell us a story, because your dad grew up like meat and potatoes. And I remember the first time he made us like burger patties. Because like, okay. Context, but when I started coming around to your house, like the main, like we're lazy and we don't want to do anything complicated meal is fucking chicken Parmesan. You know, it's like chicken, breaded, mashed down, pasta, penne pasta, sauce. Fucking here you go. Like That's the meal. And I was like, wow.
God, I
like,
could eat that tonight too.
Cam's family does fucking fancy meals every night. Like, wow, big guy over here. And then your dad brought up how he grew up meat and potatoes. And I would look at him and I'd be like, Tom, like my person, like
right.
Meat and potatoes is how I grew up. Like pork chops, ground beef molded into a patty, or I'm trying to think what else. Like steak tails was how my mom would like ball out. So we got steak tails, and then like
steak tails. What?
Yeah, it's like a long thin cut of beef that you just bake in the oven, or you can do it on the barbecue. And then she would do like a sidekicks, like, you know, the Knorr like sidekicks, like it's like pasta in a bag, and like you just kind of dump it into some boiled water and it becomes a thing. Or like some Uncle Ben's rice pouch that she microwaved, or
Ben's classics.
Yeah, or potatoes in some kind. You know, she would roast like mini potatoes or mashed potatoes or some permutation of potatoes. She would like heat up some McCain's French fries.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Steam a veg, call it a meal.
We understand. Yes.
I was like, Tom, like that's how I grew up. You know, like I love that I come here and I love chicken Parmesan. I love all of the fancy pastas and all of the fancy meats that you make. But like,
I mean, it's not really that fancy.
Hamburger and some kind of starch and some kind of veggie. That's my life. And he was like, that's what I grew up with. So your mom was away. Like last month or something like that, visiting Duncan in Kamloops, and the only reason that he didn't do meat and potatoes is because your mom doesn't really like it, and he really adopted the Italian food because he was so close with your mom's family that he kind of put the meat and potatoes aside for a while. But with your mom gone, he busted out like the hamburger and the mashed potatoes and the beans and the carrots and like what else did he make us? I mean, like he brings out like the chicken drumsticks a lot now because he found out that I like chicken drumsticks. And I was like, this is like comfort food. This is like home, you know? This is what I know. This is like my roots. And he's like, it's my roots too. And I'm like, you're my fucking guy. You're my person.
Well,
we get each other. We get each other.
Dad was so fucking like nervous about the way we'd respond. And it's like, okay, Dad, like you understand how like this isn't like gross.
Yeah.
This is delicious. I
love chicken Parmesan because I can't fucking believe that you make it on the reg so often, you know?
It's really not that hard.
I know, but it's like, to me, chicken Parmesan is not the norm. It's not, you know, it's restaurant food to me.
Let me make something perfectly clear. Like, we don't have chicken Parmesan all the time, but my mom will make like fried chicken cutlets.
Yeah.
Which is just like breaded chicken.
Yeah.
And then you can dress it yourself however the fuck you want.
I guess. Yeah. Chicken Parmesan is like the sauce and the cheese on top, and that's chicken Parmesan. Thing. But like breaded fried chicken cutlets is like not anything that I know.
It's just Italian, right? Like it's really, because like, it's a super Italian thing.
Totally. So when your dad was like, like, this is delicious, but like my roots is really like meat and potatoes. I'm like, Tom, like,
yeah.
Like preacher choir, buddy. Like I'm right there with you.
And
I love that
it.
stuff.
It was great. It was so really, really good.
So hearty and delicious.
He should believe in himself more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like you're not alone. I just like I rave about the chicken because I don't get it a whole lot, you know? Mm-hmm. It's cool to have like meat and potatoes at my mom's house, and then I come to your house and it's like breaded chicken cutlets and pasta is the norm. Is like the that's the like go to, you know, can't think of anything else, so bust out the chicken. We just, you know,
we typically have that once a week. I'd say at least once a week.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at it. I love it.
You shouldn't be, because it's not going to stop.
Yeah, it's why I fit in so well with your family.
Exactly, we love eating.
Because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll eat this any day of the week.
Well, we really do. I think that's funny you mentioned that, because like I really do think that. You know, like your mom and then like my parents and like us too, and even Duncan and Emma, we're a family that really genuinely appreciates meals and eating.
Yeah.
A lot of us have our bonding time over dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, my family would try, and it kind of, you know, when my parents' marriage started falling apart, it didn't happen as much anymore. Like when it was evident that it was over. But growing up, like if Dad wasn't in Toronto trying to do something, or, you know, like Mom wasn't working late or anything like that, I didn't have an extracurricular, if we could be all in the same house together, we ate together All the time.
Of course.
All the time.
That's what you do because you're a family.
That's why I get so mad when people were like, oh, people of your generation, millennials, like, you don't know, you grew up on TV dinners or eating in front of the TV. You don't know what it's like to sit. It's like, yes, I did. Mm-hmm. I absolutely did.
It's my dad who watches fucking TV all dinner now.
Absolutely. It's the parents who put the TV on in the background. Like, I remember going to my grandparents for dinner and the TV was on in the background. And it's like, can we turn this off? Like,
I would actually get yelled at.
I hate this.
I would get yelled at if the TV was on. And then, like, for some reason, like, it was my fault somehow.
Yeah. And it's like, whatever. It's just never how I liked to roll, you know? I like TV off, you know, sit down, talk. I tend
to leave my phone in, like, wherever it was, but when I go to dinner now, I'll just, like, leave it on the couch or,
I don't like having my phone on me at dinner time because my phone is very, like, if it's on me, I'll touch it. I'll mess with it.
Well, yeah.
Even if I put it away, put it in your pocket. No, I can't. If it's pressed up against my body, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to touch it.
You're going to get phantom vibrates and you're going to go look at it.
Yeah, I'm going to fiddle with it.
Yeah.
No, like, put it in a different room, leave it, have dinner, come back to it after dinner.
Well, hopefully there'll be some notifications there.
Yeah.
Unless you're a fucking loser like me.
Yeah. It's wild how if you don't constantly check something, watch frog never boils mentality.
Right.
If you don't check something.
What did you just say?
A watch frog never boils.
Watch frog?
Yeah.
A watch pot never boils.
No, I've heard frog.
When would you boil a frog?
I don't know, Cam. These things just get said. No, I don't know.
I don't think that's a saying.
Yes, it is.
A watch frog never boils?
Yeah, I've heard it before. I've heard it before.
That. I've seen a watch pot never boils because that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I think there's another version of that saying.
I mean, I've typed in watched frog and nothing came up.
That's what I heard.
There's, hang on. r/Malafor. I don't even know what this is. Malafor is a mashing of two phrases to create okay, so it's considered a malaphor.
Yeah.
Which is like a combination of two phrases to become a new phrase.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, dog.
But like it happens.
I mean, I don't know, dog.
It's a malaphor that exists.
But like, what the fuck? Like what is where does the frog come from?
I don't know, Cameron. I just hear it.
So like, it's just so new. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. A watched frog never boils.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
I don't know where it came from, but it's a phrase that I heard and it's a phrase that I use.
Right.
Sorry about it.
I mean, you don't have to apologize. I've just never heard it before.
I'm not really apologetic about it. I'm just saying.
Right.
It exists.
But you know what, Sam? It's reached that point in the podcast where we need to end it.
Okay.
And you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, being like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or YouTube. Mm-hmm. We're on a whole bunch of shit.
We're on a whole bunch. There's no reason to not know Chill Spot.
If you're watching us on YouTube, you're a little just below the video there, you see a big old subscribe button. You should click it. Mm-hmm. And if you really, really love us, you should hit the little bell next to it.
A little belly bell.
So you'll be notified for when we get uploads.
Get a little ding dong.
Yeah.
Whenever we do a new boop boop.
Now, for whatever fucking reason, if you like us this much, you should also go into our Linktree link and click on our Twitch.
Yeah.
To follow us on Twitch, because we do lots of streams. 3 streams a week, in fact.
Yeah, on the reg.
Yeah.
We're regular streamers.
And we will see you guys next week.
Wait. If you want to follow us on social media, tell us what your favorite top to bottom albums are.
Yeah.
Albums that have meant a lot to you, and
throw it in the comments.
Yeah, throw it out in the comments. Let's start that conversation. I love that conversation. It's not because it's not. You know what? It's not a negative conversation.
Never.
It's just like, what's an album that you can listen to from start to finish with no skips?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so tell us. We want to know.
And by next week, 3 p.m., you can listen to the next Chill Spot podcast.
Hey.
Tuesday, 3 p.m.
Yeah, let us know.
Bye.
Bye.